The 2023 season is right upon us, and we're eager to see what the teams have in store. As of now, controversies are flying around Ferrari and the legality of their 2023 challenger, the SF23. Their rivals have caught up on a part that is rather intriguing, and they asked the FIA to look closely into the legality of the 2023 version of Ferrari's car. With this in mind, is there a chance that Ferrari's performance will be interfered with by the action taken by Mercedes and Red Bull? And more importantly, what is the controversial part of the SF23 in question? Ferrari has built one of the best looking cars for the 2023 season, and it's evident that they've made massive progress in terms of the aerodynamic prospects of the car. Furthermore, the team has most likely resolved the car's reliability issues, which hampered their success in 2022 and presented themselves as massive challenges to overcome in 2022. However, a new dawn rises upon the Maranello team, and it seems like they're ready to enter the new season even stronger than in 2022. And it seems like they've taken things to a wider extent, with the legality of their car being questioned by their rivals. Sure, the front wing design has been copied by Mercedes, but one part's legality has been brought into question by Red Bull and Mercedes, and that's the S-duct. Now, the S-duct was first implemented in 2012 by Sauber, and its sole purpose is to redirect turbulent air from cars in front, which helps the team minimize the loss of downforce when following the car up front very closely. This is done by channeling the dirty air from the front of the car into areas where it will have less aerodynamic impact. And according to Formula.Uno, a well-known Italian Formula 1 website, the solution has taken the traditional concept of the S-duct design and tweaked it slightly, only implementing it in the side pods so that the airflow coming out can move towards the rear wing and beam wing. This would theoretically improve the aerodynamic performance, which is something that the teams have asked the FIA to clarify whether it's legal or not. An opening at the rear of the side pods, which hugged closely into the center of the car, is now allowing the SF23 to flow out of the back of the car in that way as part of the design solution that the Maranello team has come up with. Therefore, Ferrari shouldn't be too surprised that other teams, such as Red Bull and Mercedes, are questioning the legality of this part. But can we blame Ferrari for what they did? After what happened in 2022, and when it became evident that Verstappen and Red Bull are in their own league, with Mercedes having the biggest slump of their existence, the Maranello team has focused on the upcoming season to make the biggest splash compared to the other teams. A technician from Ferrari spoke about their innovations and how the SF23 is going to perform with them, with him further adding that the team will have 2 or 3 very interesting solutions on the SF23, with a couple more hidden. The preseason testing in Bahrain is currently showing us that the SF23 is definitely the car that we need to pay the most attention to. But apart from the S-duct, the team has also been receiving backlash for copying the design of the front wing that's been banned in 2022 and was previously invented by Mercedes. But now that the interpretation of the 2023 regulations has changed it a bit, the Scuderia has used it perfectly in their favor, with Mercedes likely to follow up on their own design in 2022 and make the necessary tweaks in order to comply with the rules. But what about the S-duct and the legality of it? If this part turns out to be completely legal, Ferrari will have a massive advantage over the other teams, because the other teams will struggle to replicate the Italian team's design in order to gain an advantage as the season progresses. However, it's worth noting that many teams do not have a strong need to concentrate airflow in this area, as they only need to open slits in the center of the car during the hottest races of the season. Mercedes tried a similar innovation at the 2022 US Grand Prix, when the Silver Arrows tried to go one step further and remove their brackets. At the Mexican GP, the team tried to use an upgraded front wing, the one that we've mentioned earlier in this video, but due to the regulations, further front wing designs were banned in December. Frédéric Vasseur is very happy about the 2023 Challenger that has exited production in Maranello, and it seems like he has a lot of hopes for the upcoming season. However, he did point out the reliability of the engine is definitely a part that the team needs to upgrade the most, and if the team failed to fix these particular issues in the previous period, then they would definitely have a hard time figuring out how to beat Verstappen and Red Bull. If you don't have the reliability, then you're not able to do these 3 days and then you start on the wrong foot. We've done the mileage we needed to do on the dyno and we're all optimistic, but only Bahrain will tell us where we are in terms of engine performance. So far it's okay. The mood in Ferrari is upbeat right now, with Leclerc praising Vasseurs' integration into the team, despite the fact that the Monegasque has been linked to leaving Ferrari after the 2024 season if they fail to provide him with a championship-winning car. That's definitely why Ferrari has decided to try out solutions that are a bit different compared to the F175, because they know that they cannot rely on the increased time in the wind tunnel and the fresh energy brought by Vasseurs' arrival to the team alone. Let's get back to the S-Duct and how the team has managed to successfully implement it in the new regulations. Ferrari's 2023 version of the car had the S-Duct under the nose of the car, with the genius design connecting the open vertical slot at the root of the chassis, just below the radiators, with a duct that vents the floor from a two-stage periscope blowing on the hollowed-out part of the side pod. As expected, conjectures immediately arose to understand what the system could be used for. Some spoke of the vertical intake as a tool aimed at cooling the control unit and those parts that, until last year, could find a place in the cockpit. However, now the cockpit must be freed of any accessories for safety reasons. Other experts have interpreted the periscope as an additional cooling outlet, given the fact that the SF23 has smaller radiators compared to the ones that we've seen on the previous version of the car, the F175. In reality, the narrow air vent that can be noted on the sides of the cockpit doesn't directly extract the heat from the side pods. If anything, with the cool flow that arrives from under the vent, it's possible to speed up the suction of the hot air from the gills, which then allows better fluid dynamics inside the side pods, and therefore, the slit can be smaller to the advantage of aerodynamic efficiency. With the technicians back in Maranello discovering how the system was called, all doubts were removed, as everyone inside the Ferrari racing department called it a bypass duct. From now on, this name will be adopted as an innovative solution, which has already generated a lot of talk in the past few days. That's why the legality of the part will be further questioned by the rivals, because if it proves to be a legal one, the advantage for Ferrari when following other cars closely will be massive. Scuderia Ferrari has informed the International Federation of its intention to introduce the bypass duct, which complies with a technical regulation that, since last year, requires compliance with volumes and not measures. Therefore, the verification of certain ideas becomes complicated if one does not have a CAD program, which should be a problem for the rest of the grid when they try to implement something that's already been proven successful by a team that developed it way earlier. Controversies are part of the sport, and in situations like this, every small detail and every inch matter, which is why teams are not going to let anything new and rather murky slide easily without being heavily inspected by the FIA. Now that Red Bull cannot allow more mistakes after the budget cap breach penalty, and with Mercedes looking to come back at the top with their two designs for the W14, Ferrari has entered the game with innovation, which suits the legendary team. So, what do you think about the S-Duct solution? Do you think it's legal? Let us know in the comments down below.